Hi. So a little bit about this video before we begin is it's going to be a little bit serious, but you know, not really. It's definitely a little bit more serious. I wanted to expand on what I talked about in my Infinity War reaction trailer thing. So it's basically the topic of why I love Marvel so much and how it helped me throughout the years. I actually had, and I still kind of do have, depression ever since I was in 4th grade. So the DSM-5 defines major depressive disorder as a depression that lasts for more than 2 weeks. Symptoms include being very sad, very depressed, very low. You have a loss of interest or pleasure. You can't sleep, you have loss of appetite, and the list goes on. I'll link it somewhere down there. But yeah, it actually lasted for a very long time, and I actually kept it a secret from my family for years. There were moments when I didn't even want to get out of bed. There were moments when I couldn't even go outside and play with like my neighbors because I was so sad. I just lost interest in everything. And I remember one time just looking out the window and just seeing like my sister and our neighbors playing, and I wanted to somehow join them, but at the same time I just didn't want to go out at all. If these things trigger you, click away right now because it's probably gonna get a little bit dark. I was also pretty suicidal, especially around 4th grade on to about 7th grade. The fact that people also made fun of me just did not help at all. And keeping it a secret made it worse. I didn't want to tell anybody. I thought people would think I'm crazy. I thought people would judge me further. It wasn't a pretty childhood, I guess. I told my family way later and they were very supportive. But throughout the years, all I did was just go to school, study, maintain my good grades, and that was it. After that, I was just like, I don't want to do anything. There's no purpose in life. I was being very dark. I felt very alone. It just does things to you. I didn't even want to watch TV. But the only things that really helped me during that time was good music, like hymns, and Marvel. This might sound very weird, but during that time, I just read a lot of comics. I even read Batman at that time. That's probably why I don't like Batman, because I just remember it being too dark for me when I was little. I'm not talking about like the graphic novels, I'm talking about the animated series. Unlike Marvel, of course there were a lot of dark things in Marvel, but I was able to relate to all the characters, especially Spider-Man, because he was bullied, of course, the trauma that he experienced. He had so many fights inside him that I could relate to, and he was smart. That's also the reason why I wanted to maintain my grades, was because of Spider-Man. Also, characters like Daredevil, the fact that he had a lot of trauma going on in his life, but the fact that he overcame all that. Shoot, even Iron Man with his drinking problem. I knew that that was his inner demon when I was little. I remember picking that comic up like in 6th grade, and I was like, man, even Iron Man has problems. I think that's why I grew obsessed with the comics and the TV shows and the movies of Marvel, because in a sense I felt like my problems and things that I struggled with was being shown to the world while the world wasn't really judging them. And I kept at it. Honestly, those were like the only therapeutic things that I had. But it's so weird to say that throughout the years, what actually helped me become less depressive and dark was, day one, it was Marvel. Of course it changed throughout time. I started dancing in 11th grade, having a very supportive surrounding around me with like my family, my friends, my girlfriend, and my church. It's been great, but Marvel does mean a lot to me. Whenever I'm feeling down or I'm feeling a little gloomy, I just pop open a comic book and I just read it. Right now I'm reading the Darth Vader series that Marvel is releasing, which is great, by the way. I totally recommend it. So as the years progressed, I started getting a sense of, I guess, purpose. Not purpose, but a passion. I started studying psychology as well as a little bit of the human anatomy and science and the human body. And it sparked an interest because this was everything that I struggled with when I was growing up. What was great was every class that I took that dealt with abnormal psychology or disorders, the professors would tell me that everyone that's dealing with this should seek treatment. As I was diving into psychology and human health and whatnot, I had this chance of doing like a research project for my research class. I wanted to incorporate comics into it because it helped me when I was growing up. So I conducted a 2-sample t-test if there's a correlation between reading comic books and self-esteem. And I had like 80 participants. I don't really remember, I still have it somewhere. Long story short, there was no significant correlation at all. However, I just wanted to have fun with my research project, and I had a great time just making that project, doing all the research about self-esteem and media. But then my psychology professor, we weren't really close, but she saw that I really loved Marvel and she would crack jokes about it with me. She was so cool. It was right before I graduated. She asked me to print out one of my projects and I was like, why? She just said, just do it. So I printed out one of my projects and I gave it to her. She gave it to me the next class in front of everybody saying, Abe, can you come up here? I know you're graduating, so I wanted to get this for you. She gives me my research paper back and I'm like, what is this? And on it, there was a signature on it of Len Wayne. Rest in peace, Len Wayne. If you don't know who Len Wayne is, he is a creator of a lot of characters like Wolverine. That was the greatest graduation gift I received that year, aside from my sister getting me like a very fancy wallet. So after that, triggered me to be better in what I wanted to do in psychology and the human health. So I became an ABA therapist. And right now, my biggest dream is to become an occupational therapist. I went back to California during the summer and I worked at an occupational therapy clinic. And honestly, I know I helped them, but they helped me more. They reminded me of my childhood, but the fact that they were stronger than me, it encouraged me. I think that seeing them endure and fight to be better. And that's why I want to pursue this field, because I've never experienced a field where I can help, but at the same time, they're encouraging me. I guess I'm gonna leave it at that. That's long story short. There are so many stories I could talk about that happened during the summer, but all in all, I love occupational therapy. I know everybody says go seek treatment. Not only will it help you, people that are treating you also have problems too. But the fact that you showed up, the fact that you're putting up a fight also encourages us to put up a fight in our lives. And I know if you're in certain areas of the world, treatment is very easy to, it's out there. I wanted to specifically touch on countries that don't really think therapy is necessary or whatever. I'm being specific, I'm not talking about in the entirety of like a country if I'm talking about this. I'm only going to be talking about it in terms of the reactions I had and the people around me that tells me these things. So most of y'all know, if not all of you know, that I'm in South Korea, specifically Seoul, and this country has one of the highest rates of suicide in the world. It's heartbreaking to know that statistic, but it's also heartbreaking to know that, I'm generalizing here, people don't really seek out treatment for these things, especially mental health. So the people around me, like my friends and people I work with, they tell me that people here don't really seek out treatment. Why? I'm quoting people here. They would say that it's a sign of weakness and it shows how weird a person is. People will treat you a little weird if they find out that you go see a therapist or whatever. And I disagree with that. I think that's completely wrong. It just breaks my heart because you have this thing, you have a problem, but some people don't really know what to do with that problem. You need to find outlets, you need to find people, you need to find a community, or you need to find help. I don't really know how to end this. If you're watching this, you need help. There's so many resources out there. I'll probably link some stuff down below. Yo, man, everybody wants everybody to get better. If nobody in your life is telling you to get better, I want you to get better. I know I'm not even a big shot YouTuber, or I'm honestly not anybody. I'm just a nerd that loves Marvel. Wow, this video got dark real quick. It even got dark in the room. I want to keep this conversation going. If you guys have any input, thoughts, let me know. Or, you know, just stop by and say hi.